Hey, what's up guys? In this video, we're gonna look at how to create great compositions for cinematic music videos. Now, composition in film simply means the way a scene is arranged in a frame of a camera, and is one of the things that is lacking in most music videos. Just because it's a music video, it doesn't mean that you don't pay attention to how you arrange things in your frame and just arrange everything, even things that do not relate to that music video, just put everything together. Well, if maybe that is your style, but if you want to create cinematic looking music videos, great composition plays a very huge role. So in this video, I'm gonna give you 5 tips to creating great compositions for cinematic music videos. Let's get to it. My first tip is framing itself. Framing simply means the placement and position of subjects in your frame. A lot of filmmakers struggle when it comes to framing, not just music video, but a lot of filmmakers in general. And to make sure my framing is correct, I usually use the rule of thirds. So make sure you learn exactly what the rule of thirds. Let me just go through it so that you can just get an idea of what that is. The rule of thirds is a framing guideline that breaks the image into thirds, both vertical and horizontally. By positioning my key elements along the guidelines, I always end up having great compositions in my videos. With the rule of thirds, when you are working with people, you want to put them on one of the vertical lines and keep their eye lines on the top third. Depending on which side they are facing, position them on one of the vertical lines to give them a viewing space. If they're looking to the right, put them on the left vertical line, facing right. And if they're looking to the left, put them on the right vertical line, facing left, to give them a viewing space. This makes your framing appealing and natural. If they are looking straight into the camera, like the way I'm talking to you right now, put them on the center. If it is a tight shot on their face, try to keep their eyes on the top third. When working with landscapes, put your horizon on one of the horizontal lines. If you want people to see more of the sky, put the horizon on the bottom third. And if you want people to see more of the land, put your horizon on the top third. However, it's not all the time that you need to follow the rule of thirds. You can break them intentionally without looking to be an amateur. For example, I intentionally framed this artist to the bottom line, leaving all this headroom because I wanted people to focus on the church in the background, not necessarily him. But 90% of the time, I frame according to the rule of thirds. So just understand more about the rule of thirds. It will really help you to create good framing that will really make your videos look cinematic. My second tip is using leading lines. Leading lines refer to lines that lead the viewer's eye from one part of the composition to the other. I use things like bridges, roads, or structures that have natural lines to direct or guide my viewers to the subject or the center of the subject. When I find symmetrical lines, I frame my subject right on the middle to create symmetry, which is one way of creating great compositions. If you look at this background, there are 6 LED lights, 3 on each side, and I framed myself right on the middle to create symmetry. Symmetry helps to create depth in your composition. And when there is depth in your composition, the video just looks cinematic. My third tip is using depth. I use so many things to create depth in my videos. Sometimes I use foregrounds to create depth, or use focus, or sometimes lighting, and a whole lot of other things that create depth in the image. On the other hand, I always make sure to balance my compositions. In this clip, I put the bed lamp to just balance the composition. I don't like leaving empty spaces in my compositions. This is where a dominant subject, something that you want people to focus on, fills the whole frame, like this whole frame. In this composition, this lady is holding a phone. Right now, people are focused on the lady. But if I want them to focus on the phone, what I do is to fill the frame with the phone and shoot at high aperture like f2 so that only the phone is in focus. I use focus a lot to direct people where to look. And this is one way of creating really great compositions. There are so many other ways of creating great compositions, but hopefully this subject has given you a good insight. Feel free to ask if you have any question, and I'll see you in the next video where we shall talk about my best 5 camera angles for creating cinematic music videos. This is it. Peace. Hey, what's up guys? In this video we're gonna go through some tips on how to light music videos using natural lighting, artificial lighting, as well as practical lighting. When it comes to video, lighting is everything. It is the reason why we see things actually. With music videos, the backlight is the most important light. If you're using natural lighting, it is always best to schedule your shoots around sunrise and golden hour when the sun is on one side and not too harsh. Also, make sure you put the sun behind your subject as backlight and use a reflector to reflect some of that light back to the subject. It makes the video look very cinematic. Sometimes try to look at the weather. If it is going to be cloudy, this is also a good time to shoot music videos because the clouds act as a giant diffusion. The light is not too harsh on the subject and the videos will really come up perfect without those harsh lights. If you are using artificial lighting, make sure you switch off all the room lights, all the house lights, switch them off and set yours. Start with the backlight, which will separate your subject from the background. Then set the key light, which will light up the subject. If you think you need the fill light, you can add it as well. Another important light when it comes to music videos is practical lights. These are visible lights in your frame or in your shot. Practical lights add a certain dimension to your music videos, and sometimes I even use them as backlight. I use practical lights in almost every music videos. Anyways, that's it guys. I hope this gives you an idea of how to light your music videos. I'll catch you in the next video where we shall talk about 5 camera movements for cinematic music videos. 5, the ones that I always use. I'll see you in the next video. This is it. Peace. Hey, what's up guys? In this video we're gonna look at 5 camera movements that can make your music videos look cinematic. As a music video filmmaker, you need to have a stabilizer that can create smooth movements in your videos, unless your concept is that of a handheld or static, but it's always really advisable that you get at least a gimbal. One cool trick for camera movements when shooting music videos is to move the camera according to the tempo of the song. If the song is slow, move your camera slowly according to the song. But if the song has got a lot of energy, fast, make also your camera movements fast to match the tempo of the song. Another thing is, don't just move your camera randomly just because it's on the stabilizer. Make sure the movements have some meaning, make sure they are strategic. And with this out of the way, let me give you my top 5 camera movements that I always use for my cinematic music videos. My first and most favorite camera movement that I use all the time is the parallax movement. In this movement, I keep the subject in the same position while I move the camera around them, causing the background to move. It looks even more cinematic on a higher focal length with a shallow depth of field. I use this movement on almost every music video, especially where my subject is standing still, to create a sense of wonder, and it makes the shots more dimensional because the world seems to be moving around them. My second most favorite camera movement is tracking movement. This is when my subject is moving and I'm also moving with them at the same pace and distance. This movement helps the viewers feel like they are in the action too. They feel like they are moving with that person. There are 3 different types of tracking. The first one is the lead tracking, where the subject follows the cameraman. Then there is side tracking, where you track your subject from the side. I use this tracking so much in my videos. You can also see it here and on this one as well. The last one is called follow-up tracking, where the camera operator follows the subject from behind, like in this example. Same as lead tracking, but this time from behind. The third camera movement which I use a lot is the review movement. It is a creative movement in which I use the foreground object to review my subject in the background. In this example, I'm using a tree to review my subject. Next up on number 4 is rising while tilting. This is when I'm raising the camera up while tilting it down to create this cool shot that looks like it was a jib. I also do this kind of movement with a drone most of the time. The fifth movement is the low mode, where I put the camera very low to the ground to give a different perspective, or when I want to make the subject look more superior. And that's it, folks. These are some of the camera movements that I use in a lot of music videos, but there are more in the main course. You can also combine these movements to create unique movements of your own. This is it. Peace. Hey, what's up guys? In this video, we're gonna look at the 5 best camera angles for creating cinematic music videos. When it comes to music videos, camera angles are everything, and I'm gonna give you my top 5 camera angles that I often use in almost all my music videos and explain to you why. And without wasting time, let's get into it. The first camera angle that I use a lot is the ground angle. This is actually when I'm trying to show what is happening on the ground. What I normally do is I put the camera very close to the ground. Sometimes I'm trying to show a shoe or just any activity happening on the ground. The second camera angle that I often use is the knee level. Mostly I use this angle when I'm trying to show a person walking to give a different perspective to the scene. And oh my gosh, you have no idea how much I use this angle. Almost in every shoot it is there. The third camera angle is the low angle. I normally use this angle to show or emphasize the character's dominance or superiority. Sometimes I use it to portray a sense of wonder when my character is in a place which they are not familiar with. The fourth camera angle which I use is the Dutch angle, where the camera is slanted to one side to show a sense of disorientation. I love this angle quite a bit, and I often use it especially when I'm filming subjects on water in a speedboat, because naturally speedboats are not stable, and when you add a Dutch angle, it shows that sense of instability. I also use Dutch angles to show a confused character or to show that something is not okay. Like on the music video which I did for some artists, where the storyline of the video was a girl who was dating 3 friends without knowing, and later they discover that they were dating one girl and then she runs away. It was really funny actually. The fifth camera angle that I use in my videos is called the high angle, where the camera is just on top of the subject, and I like to use this angle when I'm trying to show the vulnerability of a character. Alright, the bonus camera angle is the bird's eye view or overhead shot, where the camera is way up looking down on the subject in a wide environment, sometimes to emphasize their freedom. It is almost familiar to the aerial shot, where the camera is even way up higher to establish a larger expanse of landscape or location. There are many other camera angles that you can play around with, but these were the top 5 angles that I often use in my music videos. In the next video, we shall look at how to edit music videos. This is it. Peace.